The late afternoon sun cast long shadows over the quiet cul-de-sac of 1423 Willow Creek Drive, where the Nguyen family was settling into their new home. Lynn Nguyen was arranging patio furniture on their freshly mowed lawn, while her husband, Tuan, inflated a soccer ball for their 10-year-old son, Min. The boy's laughter echoed as he kicked the ball against the garage, his energy boundless after months of saving for the move. Their new backyard, framed by a low wooden fence, held a small garden plot they'd started as symbol of their fresh start. They'd only been in the neighborhood for 2 months, but already, their neighbor, Diane Foster, was making it feel like a battlefield. Diane was on her porch, phone pressed to her ear, her voice cutting through the evening calm like a siren. "Yes, I need someone from code enforcement at 1423 Willow Creek immediately," she snapped, her eyes locked on the Nguyen's yard. "There's an unauthorized structure violating city ordinances, and it's a safety hazard." Lynn paused, her hands gripping a chair. Min stopped kicking his ball, his brow furrowing. "Mom, what's she yelling about?" he asked, his voice small. Lynn's chest tightened. Diane had already complained about their car's oil spot in the driveway, the height of their hedges, even the unapproved birdhouse they'd hung. "Just stay here, Min," Lynn said softly, her gaze fixed on Diane, who was now pointing at their garden shed. Tuan emerged from the house, carrying a pitcher of iced tea. He froze when he saw Diane gesturing wildly, her voice rising. "The neighborhood covenant explicitly prohibits unpermitted structures," she declared into her phone, loud enough for the entire street to hear. "My daughter, Emily, can't even play safely because of their negligence." Lynn's face flushed with frustration. "Tuan, she's talking about our shed," she whispered. "The one we got permits for, on our property." Tuan set the pitcher down, his jaw tight. "This is ridiculous," he muttered. The shed was a modest, city-approved structure they'd built for tools and Min's bike, fully within their lot lines. "Excuse me," Tuan called out, his tone calm but edged with irritation. "Diane, that shed is ours, legally built on our land." Diane lowered her phone, her eyes narrowing. The Willow Creek Community Association rules, Section 3.2, mandate all structures be pre-approved by the board. "You didn't submit plans." Lynn stepped forward, Min clinging to her hand. "We're not part of any association," she said, her voice shaking. "We confirmed that before buying." Diane's smile was sharp. "You don't get to opt out of community standards," she retorted, dialing again. "Yes, code enforcement. They're refusing to comply and acting aggressive." Tuan pulled out his phone and began recording. Diane's face twisted. "That's illegal," she shrieked. "You can't film me without permission." "It's my property," Tuan replied, his voice steady despite his trembling hands. "I can record whatever happens here." Diane marched closer to the fence, her voice dripping with indignation. "The authorities are coming, and I've already contacted our attorney. You can't just move in and disrupt our neighborhood." Min's eyes welled up, and Lynn knelt to comfort him, her own anger simmering. "Our neighborhood," she said quietly. "We belong here. We pay our bills, our taxes. This is our home." Diane's laugh was cold. "Your home falls under our rules. Emily gets priority access to safe play areas, and your shed's blocking her space." "Blocking what?" Tuan demanded, still filming. "You mean our backyard?" "By me," Diane said matter-of-factly. As chair of the Willow Creek Community Association, Lynn and Tuan exchanged stunned glances. They'd never received any association paperwork, never attended meetings, never paid fees. "Diane, our property isn't in any association," Tuan said, his voice firm. "We made sure of that." Diane's face reddened. "Every house here is under the association. You're in violation of multiple regulations right now." Sirens approached, and Min's grip on Lynn's hand tightened. Her heart pounded as their peaceful evening crumbled. A police car pulled up, followed by a code enforcement van. Diane, adjusting a community safety liaison badge pinned to her jacket, strode to meet them with a smug air. Sergeant Carter, a seasoned officer with a tired expression, approached the Nguyen's yard. "Ma'am, you reported a structure violation?" he asked Diane. "Yes," she replied, her confidence wavering slightly under his scrutiny. "They built an illegal shed, endangering the neighborhood." Carter glanced at the shed, clearly within the Nguyen's fence, and raised an eyebrow. "This looks like private property." Diane's voice sharpened. The association rules clearly state, "Are you in a community association?" Carter interrupted, turning to Tuan. "No, sir," Tuan replied, still recording. "We chose a non-association neighborhood." Officer Reyes, Carter's partner, was already heading back to the car. "Sarge, this is a waste of time." But Diane wasn't done. "Wait," she called, pulling a thick binder from her tote bag. "I have evidence photos, measurements, proof of ordinance violations." Lynn's stomach dropped. They'd followed every regulation. What could Diane have? "The shed lacks proper permits," Diane declared, her tone triumphant. "I have documentation of setback violations and safety risks." Tuan stepped forward. "We have all our permits, inspected and approved." "Fraudulent paperwork," Diane said smoothly. "I've been tracking violations here for years. I know what's legitimate." Carter sighed. "Ma'am, code enforcement handles permit disputes, not us." Diane was undeterred, pulling out her phone. "Fine. I'm calling the city planner, the health department, and animal control." "Animal control?" Lynn asked, baffled. Diane pointed at their tabby cat, Machi, lounging on the patio. No visible tags. Likely unvaccinated. A health threat. Tuan's temper flared. "Machi's licensed and vaccinated, and she's in our yard." Min's voice broke through, trembling. "Are they taking Machi away?" "No, honey," Lynn soothed, though fear gnawed at her. Reyes returned, exasperated. "Ma'am, stop clogging emergency lines. You've called 3 agencies in 10 minutes. Diane's tone turned sanctimonious. "As safety liaison, it's my duty to report threats." Carter's patience was thinning. "Liaison appointed by who?" Diane hesitated. "The association." "I'm the chair." "The association that doesn't exist?" Tuan interjected. Carter waved a hand. "Ma'am, let these people use their property." But Diane had another card. She brandished a document to cease and desist order from the Willow Creek Community Association legal office, demanding the shed's removal pending review. It looked official, embossed seals, legal jargon. "This is fake," Tuan said, but doubt crept into his voice. "Prove it," Diane challenged. "Call our attorney." Lynn's heart raced. If this was real, could Diane control their backyard? "I'm reasonable," Diane said, sensing their hesitation. "Remove the shed by tomorrow, and we'll discuss compliance." "No way," Tuan snapped. Diane's smile was icy. "Then our legal fund will bury you in court." Carter stepped in. "This is a civil issue. Take it to court." As the officers left, Diane stood in her driveway, arms crossed, victorious. But her eyes held a frantic edge. "Comply by tomorrow, or we sue," she called out. Tuan stared at the document, then at Min's tearful face and Lynn's worried expression. They'd poured everything into this home. Could Diane ruin it over a shed? "Mom," Min whispered, "why does she hate us?" Lynn had no answer. But as Diane retreated into her house, Lynn noticed her yard was eerily empty. No toys, no swings, no signs of Emily. The next day, chaos escalated. Code Enforcement Officer Mark Ellis arrived, clipboard in hand. "I've seen a lot in 25 years, but this takes the cake," he told Tuan. Animal Control Officer Priya Shah confirmed Machi's tags were valid. Health Inspector Laura Gomez found no violations. Diane, now in a blazer with a briefcase, watched smugly. "I'm Diane Foster, Association Chair," she announced, presenting a scrapbook of photos, hundreds of images of the Nguyen's yard, taken over weeks. Lynn felt a chill. "You've been spying on us," she said. "Monitoring compliance," Diane corrected. "It's my right." The officials found no violations. The association wasn't registered. Diane's facade cracked as she showed a video of the Nguyen's recent barbecue, claiming it violated noise laws. Tuan laughed bitterly. It was Min's birthday at 5 p.m. Shah's tone softened. "Ma'am, you're harassing them." Diane's voice rose to a scream. "You people come here and ruin everything. This was a quiet neighborhood before your noise and your." She stopped, but the prejudice was clear. Silence fell. Then Diane's briefcase spilled, revealing a folder labeled non-compliant residents, notes and photos of every minority family on the street. Carter's voice turned cold. "Ma'am, we need to talk." Diane fled, screaming, "This isn't over," as papers scattered. Lynn dug into the neighborhood's online forum the next morning. Diane had targeted every non-white family with fake violations and threats. Then, A neighbor, Mr. Lee, revealed the truth. Emily died 4 years ago in a fire. Diane's grief had twisted into a delusional crusade to protect the neighborhood. That evening, Carter returned. Diane had been arrested for stalking and false reports. Her home was a shrine to Emily, her room frozen in time, her toys untouched. Files detailed every minority family's movements. She faced felony charges. The neighborhood formed the Willow Creek Alliance to prevent future harassment. Months later, Diane's house was sold, and Min played soccer with new neighbors. But Lynn sometimes saw a shadow in the new owner's window, and they'd found hidden cameras in the attic. Diane was gone, but the unease lingered, whispering of deeper secrets.